Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to GRX, and this is Surviving Iran. The insane F-15 rescue mission explained. Our channel AI Tele. Yes, it's another AI Tele video. Oh, almost 2 million subscribers, all right? 1.99. Yeah, so I react to AI Tele now and again. It's a really good channel, like fast enough for graphical, like overlays and like, different type of animations and things. AI Tele does that like really well enough for like very quick thing, because this is just like what, a day or two old news, and he already made a video about it, proper animation and everything. He made two about it. Apparently I missed one, but this is like, I guess, in depth based on the information people have. So this is much intense. Why? Because there's too much details behind it. I guess people just generally don't think about it. But the guy, the colonel, who was basically, like trying to survive, was doing insane amount of things, like, like with a broken ankle, running, like hiking up the hill, like hiding, like starting the beacon. This could be a massive Oscar-winning movie. Probably will be. That's the amount of thing that happened. That, like general public don't know about it yet. But obviously information is getting out. Iranian people also helped him, as far as I know the like news and things, which also confirms that a lot of Iranian people hates IRGC. Clearly, if they're gonna go like out as to help an American pilot, which means if IRGC finds out IRGC will kill you, they're risking even that. That how much they hate IRGC, that they're risking that. Right? So yeah, like this just insane things is happening, right? As I speak right now, there might be a chance in just few hours, in less than 24 hours, there might be a big attack on Iran because timeline is running out. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is going to be interesting. Let's do this one.
How did the U.S. pull off one of the most daring rescue operations in history, deep behind enemy lines? It comes down to a strict code the U.S. military lives by: leave no man behind. They will literally send dozens of attack helicopters and over 100 special forces and Delta operators just to bring one person home. The mission started when an aircraft went down. After both crew members ejected, the pilot was successfully extracted, but the weapons systems officer was injured and stranded. His survival training instantly kicked in. He trekked all the way up to a rugged mountainous ridge and activated his beacon, just as He trekked all the way up to a rugged mountainous ridge and
2 miles. People don't want to wake up early morning and walk or jog for 2 miles. Most people don't even want to do that. This guy with a broken ankle hiked 2 miles knowing there is a bounty on his head. He probably know that, right? Like, yeah, he's going to hunt him. And he had to do all his training that he was trained for. This is next level.
Activated his beacon, just as IRGC militias began closing in on the crash site. The CIA was one step ahead. They initiated a massive deception tactic, a ruse designed to make the IRGC search entirely the wrong location. When the enemy forces finally realized they had been tricked, all hell broke loose. From the mountainous ridge surrounding the injured officer. Just in time, special forces swooped in on Little Bird helicopters, laying down heavy covering fire alongside A-10 Thunderbolts and MQ-9 Reaper drones. But as they moved toward the extraction point, everything went wrong, proving the military is willing to burn a $100 million aircraft just to save a single fallen comrade. This is stage one. When the jet went down, both crew members ejected.
Oh, I guess it's the video he's talking about. Like, what you talking about? Full video? This is the full video. I guess the other. Okay. Yeah, there's like this Dave Grew, DEVGRU. That is the name for SEAL Team 6 now. SEAL Team 6 is not an official name, as far as I know. That Dave Grew is the official name, which was involved in this one. SEAL Team 6 was part of this.
Ejected. The pilot was recovered within hours, but the weapons systems officer wasn't so lucky. Wounded from the ejection, he landed in an incredibly rugged mountainous region. Look at the map here. This is the crash site. And this is exactly where his survival training kicked in. His immediate objective? Get to higher ground. Despite his injuries, he hiked over 2 miles and scaled a 7,000-foot ridge line. While dodging capture, he managed to trigger his emergency beacon, pinning U.S. forces so they could begin tracking his location. But he couldn't just stay on the radio. His communication had to be sporadic if he transmitted too often. The IRGC's signals intelligence teams, who were actively hunting his frequency, would pinpoint his exact coordinates. Then comes Stage 2, the CIA's deception game. To buy the downed officer time, the CIA launched a massive disinformation campaign.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw the news, like CIA's deception campaign helped with this. I'm like, yep, there you go. That makes sense. CIA went full in this one.
Inside Iran. They started leaking rumors that U.S. forces had already found the WSO and were attempting to smuggle him out on the ground. It worked perfectly. This phantom ground exfiltration successfully diverted Iranian military resources and attention completely away from the actual extraction site. That brings us to Stage 3, the tip of the spear. It's 2:00 a.m. The skies over southern Isfahan and Kogilvi are usually dead silent. But tonight, the U.S. military's most elite operators, the Delta Force and Navy SEAL Team 6, are launching a massive heliborne assault. They arrived...
Wait a minute, Delta was also there? Damn, so they brought all the big guns. Like I said in my previous video, like the thumbnail, they used all their acronyms, basically.
H-6 Little Bird helicopters, absolutely armed to the teeth
Little
with
Bird,
miniguns and missiles, built for agility and tight mountain corners. Supporting them are the MA-60 Black Hawks or Pave Hawks, designed to drop in special forces and pull them out. And they weren't alone. Miles above the pitch-black mountains, dozens of U.S. military aircraft, including HC-130J Combat Kings and EA-18 Growlers, cast an invisible net over the region. They unleash a storm of electronic warfare designed to completely blind Iranian early warning radars, all while an MQ-9 Reaper drone kept an unblinking eye on the wounded WSO. Stage 4, and this is the crazy part. The U.S. literally set up a temporary forward operating base inside Iran. They seized an abandoned agricultural airstrip, just 200 feet wide.
Oh, come on, this is Hollywood movie. All those ridiculous action movies starts with like that music working in the background, some action, slow tempo, rising music, and people doing things and like creating bases and creating airfields just so a plane can land. They literally do that. This is literally Hollywood. And why I say that? Because Hollywood's supposed to be over the top ridiculous thing. Apparently it's realistic.
And 3,900 feet long, located about 14 miles north of Shiraz city in the southern Isfahan province. They turned an empty Iranian field into a U.S. staging ground. Here comes Stage 5. Despite the odds, U.S. Special Forces successfully in helicopters navigated the jagged landscape below radar level and reached their objective, establishing a defensive perimeter around the wounded WSO. But time was up. Just as they prepared to grab him and get out, the horizon started moving. IRGC ground forces, popular mobilization units, and local
Dodge Rams or the Toyotas.
militias were rapidly converging on their exact location. What happened next was an absolute slugfest. A massive hours-long firefight erupted right in the middle of the day. Look at this ridge. They were surrounded, taking fire from all sides. U.S. operators laid down a withering wall of suppressive...
Yeah, okay, yeah. This is our land. We are the overwhelming force. Americans are screwed there. Oh, what is there? Oh my God, it's SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force. I think we should run. Yeah, as far as I remember, as far as I know the news, it was very one-sided. When the dust settled, like it was very one-sided.
Fire. The commandos locked down a 360-degree defensive perimeter, guns up, air cover overhead, designed to annihilate any IRGC element that stepped within range. But it was the loitering U.S. aircraft overhead that truly tipped the scales. To keep the extraction corridor from collapsing, American air power continuously hammered the advancing Iranian units. Assets like the A-10 Thunderbolt rained hellfire down on them. The sheer volume of close air support from the A-10s, Little Birds, and Black Hawks pounded the surrounding Iran.
Why didn't you use AC-130? Could you imagine that? Howitzer flying in the sky, circulating basically. It would be literally like hellfire is dropping down, right? Those pickup trucks are coming and suddenly there will be a massive, big diameter explosion just like shaking everything. What was that? Oh, that's AC-130. There you go. Basically, you should run and find cover. I guess they don't have AC-130 there or wasn't available that fast. Probably was far away. A-10 works great.
Iranian positions, taking a heavy toll and resulting in reported casualties across areas like Qusayr and Kakan.
Ooh, they were far in. Look at that. So they went all the way inside Iran, that deep. Basically had a firefight where obviously Iranians going to be a lot. IRGC is going to be a lot of them because it's their country, and it was somehow one-sided, where Americans got no damage. Basically, only the guy they were rescuing had damage, obviously for obvious reason. That's what happens when you have SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force there.
That air support bought the ground teams the one thing they needed most: seconds. Under the umbrella of that intense air cover, the Special Forces helicopters finally managed to load the wounded WSO onto an extraction.
I highly doubt they had M16, right? Special Forces, probably something like SCAR or something. SCAR H's or something, I don't know. No, they're not, probably not SCAR H, probably SCAR L or something. They're not going to use the big Winchester style round like... maybe they would because it's like open field, right? So you need high distance capability.
Just when it seemed like they were in the clear, things went terribly wrong back at the makeshift landing strip near Shareza City. According to the Pentagon, 2 of the transport aircraft slated for the evacuation suffered critical issues and couldn't take off. Suddenly, it was a race against time. The IRGC was speeding toward the airstrip in a massive convoy. Commanders decided to send 3 more aircraft to rescue all U.S. military personnel and the pilot. Then, in a scorched earth move, U.S. forces blew up the 2 disabled transport planes, leaving nothing but charred remains for the IRGC. The wreckage of a USM H-6 Little Bird helicopter was also spotted next to the remains of HC-130J Combat King 2 rescue aircraft.
Oh, the big ones. Both of them didn't work. Man, that's something. Like, what luck. Both of them somehow malfunctioned. But yeah, they just blew them up and just like, yeah, just send in 3 more helicopters. It's just in my pocket. I'm just going to that's what America does. There you go. I'll just send more helicopters.
Aircraft that were destroyed by U.S. airstrikes to prevent secret military data from falling into IRGC hands. But how did all of this actually started? The Zagros Mountains, Kermanshah province, near the Iran-Iraq border. This terrain is characterized by jagged peaks and deep, narrow valleys. It is a tactical nightmare for aviators but provides excellent terrain masking to hide from long-range radar. However, it also allows enemy forces to set up devastating short-range anti-aircraft ambushes. But how did the U.S. lose an F-15 E-Strike Eagle, an A-10 Warthog, and nearly a combat search and rescue team helicopter and a Reaper drone in a single night?
Yeah, but it didn't work. It didn't happen like that. As far as I remember, F-15 went down, and all these things were there to search for the guy, both of them, who were missing. And that's how A-10 got hit. Reaper obviously going to get hit because they're going to use Reaper willy-nilly because there's no one inside. That's the job of the drone, so that makes sense. And yeah, the Black Hawk, the UH-61, that's also like, for also like search and rescue, right? PJs, it was from that. So like they were like flying really low, and even with a man pad or something. Yep, there you go. Did they confirm that F-15 was shoot down with a proper system? Did they confirm that? Because to me, still feel like it would be something like man pad or something. But yeah, it makes sense, like that Top Gun level thing, like the F-15 was going through valleys and creases, staying below the radar, but something could be hiding there, instantly attacking. It makes sense.
Well, this is how it started at 2:15 hours. A flight of 2 F-15 E-Strike Eagles crosses the border at low altitude. A pilot and a weapons system officer were flying their target, a deeply buried command bunker. They used terrain-following radar to hide in the valleys, staying beneath the gaze of Iran's long-range Bavar 373 missile network. But what happens when they have to strike? To drop its GBU-28 bunker buster, the lead strike Eagle has to pull up and move above the mountains. This is breaking the radar horizon. In a gorge below, highly mobile.
This is literally Top Gun Maverick. They did the same thing in the mission, like hide and then have to go up.
M1 surface-to-air missile system is waiting. It achieves a lock, and 2 missiles leave the rails. The pilot dumps flares and pulls high GS. 1 missile is spoofed. But could they evade the second? Well, the second missile detonates on proximity, causing catastrophic hydraulic failure. The crew ejects into the pitch-black mountains, and the Sandy Protocol is immediately activated. But this is the U.S. military, and they will move heaven on earth to rescue a fallen combat.
So this is confirmed. The Tor system shot it down F-15. What doesn't make sense to me that why couldn't they do that in the first month, in the early stages? At that point, they would have been even more powerful. They had more launchers and more defenses. And not a single plane got shot down. But after a month this happened, did US mistook the geography? Like, yeah, there's probably nothing there. And they were caught by surprise, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because if the entire month nothing happens, which means US didn't take risks and did mission in a way that nothing would get shot down. So shooting down now would imply that they took risks, thinking that they have air superiority and probably nothing's there. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because after a month, if anything, there are less launchers, less defenses than before. And nothing was shot down before.
At 2:45 hours in the morning, because the crash is near the border, A-10 Thunderbolt II operating nearby are diverted for resort, also called rescue escort. Down below, Iranian quick reaction forces are closing in on the downed airmen. The lead A-10 executes a low-level strafing run with its legendary 30mm Avenger cannon, neutralizing
Pickup trucks and AK-47s and A-10 in the skies. Like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. Our bullet is not piercing that, and that bullet will pierce everything. There'll be massive holes in us. Different body parts. It's like Fallout 4 or something. With different body parts everywhere. Yeah. This is the worst things you can have. If you have a pickup truck and AK-47, the worst thing you can encounter is probably A-10.
the convoy. But how did this aggressive maneuver come at a cost? The noise and tracers give away its position, as the A-10 banks hard, bleeding off airspeed. For context, Iran recently flooded the battlefield with these Chinese shoulder-fired missiles, weapons that are essentially reverse-engineered clones of Russian Manpad. The Iranian soldier fires a Mossad-2 infrared guided missile. At this altitude, countermeasures deploy too late. The missile shreds the right turbofan engine. But can the Warthog's legendary armor save it? Yes, the armor did save it from this missile launcher, as it flew even with a damaged engine. Because of the armor, the pilot managed to point the dying...
Oh my god, I love this plane so much. It is literally pissing me off that A-10s were getting decommissioned. It survived a missile attack. It has such a good armor that it doesn't just survive against bullet. It doesn't just have like self-healing fuel tanks and wings. No, it also can survive with a direct attack from Manpad and survive. How this basically has defense all the way turned to 11. This is insane.
Jet toward a plateau and punches out. But just how many crash sites are we looking at? The F-15E crashed deep inside southwestern Iran. Specifically, local reports and verified wreckage photos place the crash site in the rugged mountainous terrain of the Khojaly and Boyar Almad province, while the A-10 Warthog did not go down over the Iranian mainland. After taking heavy damage during the search and rescue escort mission, the pilot managed to navigate the crippled jet away from the mountains and towards safer airspace. The rugged battle-damaged A-10 eventually crashed in the southern waters of the Persian Gulf, specifically near the Strait of Hormuz. Now this at 3:15 hours. A dedicated combat search and rescue package launches. These are highly trained rescue units built for this type of rescue mission. It includes an HC-130J combat...
Yeah, we saw this footages of this, right? Like, I'm like, what the hell? Helicopters getting refueled? You can't even do that? Okay.
King. This acts as an airborne command center, followed by two HC-60D helicopters, call signs Pedro 11 and Pedro 12. They fly under the radar, topping off their fuel in midair to maximize loiter time. But will they make it into hostile territory undetected? Well, they push deep into the Zagros Mountains just as dawn approaches. 4:45 hours. Pedro 11 locates the A-10 pilot's inferred strobe. Pedro 12 circles above, providing overwatch with its 50 caliber machine guns. Pedro 11 flares for landing, and the Ps hit the dirt to secure the pilot. Then this happened to hidden Iranian Zu-23, a Soviet-era anti-aircraft gun opens fire from a concealed hideout. It's an ambush. Heavy armor-piercing rounds tear through Pedro 12 as it orbits, resulting in severed transmission lines and an injured crew. The pilot wrestles the crippled chopper into a hard controlled crash near Pedro 11. The rescue mission is now a fight for...
So wait a minute. In this movie, we also have action. Half of the movie, it's hour in, and there's a combat, a helicopter crashes and they have to save them as well. This is movie in the making. This will happen. You don't even need to write a story, it's already there.
Survival, and Pedro 11 is the only way home. Under heavy covering fire, the crew of the downed chopper sprints to the surviving bird. But how did they stop the enemy barrage? Then at 5-2 hours, the C-130 overhead coordinates an immediate strike. Two F-35 stealth fighter jet loitering high above in stealth overwatch drop precision munitions, silencing the anti-aircraft gun.
I mean, I get it, you have guns, right? And you took down a helicopter, hooray, but they have F-35. I mean, if I were IRGC, I would shoot down the helicopter and then run. Not hang around knowing like what Americans can do, because that's just insane.
The A-10 pilot, the PJ, and the crash chopper's crew crammed inside. Pedro 11 is maxed out on weight. But how do you fly an overloaded helicopter escape the Zagros mountain?
I mean,
This is how they do it. Pulling
I mean, usually the weight number is not 100% like accurate, right? It's a wiggle room there, and they can throw out some unnecessary things that might be in helicopter or something. I don't know, throw away a seat or something. But even like, you know, like you can accommodate 1-2 more people. It can't be that accurate.
maximum power, the engines screaming, they barely clear the tree line and dive back into the valleys, racing for the border. By 5:30 in the morning, Pedro 11 crossed back into Iraqi airspace. Battered, overloaded, but alive. As stated, no one gets left behind. The F-15E crew is still missing in action, requiring a massive JSOC raid the following night. And if you don't want your data to get compromised by spam mails, jump calls, and online breaches. This data doesn't just result in spam and scam attempts.
Yep, I'll go to original featuring from that, support this channel.
Annual plan. Oh wait, an F-35 was also hit during one of its mission sorties.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm surprised by Iranians who are doing all these things and actually did something, traps and everything. That is more than you would have think of, because you think like, of course they would do that. No, this is not a movie. In real life, things doesn't just go like, look at the Venezuela thing. America just went in, grabbed the guy and went out. It's like nobody could do anything. Everybody was caught off guard. This happened and IRGC was actually there, actually, like creating a trap and everything. At least that's something.
To properly analyze this incident, you need to understand that there are two distinct types of missiles: radar-guided and heat-seeking.
Yeah.
The F-35 was designed to be practically invisible to long-range radar, but it wasn't built to completely hide from heat-seeking missiles. So how exactly did Iran missile manage to bypass the stealth technology of the US F-35? Well, the secret lies in a major vulnerability that is its heat signature. Its geometry and radar-absorbent materials make its radar cross-section
Okay, why are we talking about F-35?
incredibly small, essentially rendering it invisible to traditional early warning and targeting radars. To give you some context, this is how a plane's radar signature compares to a bird's. But the F-35 is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine, one of the most powerful fighter engines in the world. The F-35 is heavily optimized to defeat radio frequency radar like the billion-dollar S-400 and S-300 missiles. However, stealth does not mean completely invisible. This engine produces a massive heat plume. Instead of using radar, modern air defense networks utilize infrared search and track systems. The answer is this short-range heat-seeking missile like...
I mean, there's always going to be give or take, right? Give and take. If you're not going to have a single engine plane rather than two engine, but you still want insane thrust, basically giving it the most powerful jet engine there is in F-35, yeah, it's going to produce insane amount of heat. That's just how physics work.
Like this one. These passive sensors scan the skies for any heat anomalies. Because infrared search and track systems emit no energy themselves, the F-35's radar warning receivers would not alert the pilot that they were being painted by a target lock in the same way a radar lock would. But how did the missile lock, and how did the F-35 use evasive maneuvers? Once an infrared-guided missile is launched, the dynamic of the engagement changes to a race of physics and countermeasures. When the missile's IR seeker head locks onto the massive thermal output of the F-35's engine exhaust. But the detection, the F-35 is equipped with a distributed aperture system, 6 infrared cameras positioned around the aircraft that provide a 360-degree spherical view. The distributed aperture system detects the intense heat signature of the incoming missile's rocket motor and instantly alerts the pilot. To break the lock, the pilot executes high-G evasive maneuvers while simultaneously deploying flares. If the missile tracks the flares but is already within a lethal radius, its proximity fuse will trigger the warhead. The resulting shrapnel and shockwave can cause significant damage to the aircraft's control surfaces, stealth coating, or internal systems without scoring a catastrophic direct hit, which perfectly aligns with reports of the F-35 sustaining damage but safely executing an emergency landing. But what are flares? These pyrotechnic countermeasures are made of magnesium or other combustible metals that burn at temperatures exceeding the aircraft's
What? This video is almost over.
engine heat. The goal of the flares is to overwhelm or confuse the missile's IR seeker, forcing it to chase the decoy heat sources instead of the jet. But what is Iran's secret weapon? We believe it's the 358 anti-aircraft missile, or the SA-67. The 358 is a unique hybrid between a loitering munition or kamikaze drone and a surface-to-air missile. But how does it work? It flies at slower, subsonic speeds and can loiter in a designated airspace in a figure-8 pattern until its optical and infrared sensors detect a target. If a 385 missile or a more advanced high-speed indigenous IR-guided surface-to-air missile was guided by a ground-based IRST network, it could engage the F-35 entirely within the infrared spectrum, bypassing the jet's radar-evading capabilities entirely. This incident challenges the long-held doctrine that fifth-generation fighters can operate with total impunity in
I don't get it. Why did he start talking about F-35? That's it? I thought he was going to talk about the JSOC raid and, like rescuing the thing they did. I guess that he made this video before that. I guess another video is going to come. I guess we'll have to wait for that. But yeah, so far the detail was like insane. Like helicopter, how they set up a trap. Helicopter was shot down. They had to destroy 2 C-130s because they malfunctioned, and a little bird. I kind of hate that. Little birds are awesome. Hate seeing that getting destroyed, but it's better to destroy it than give it to Iranians, right? They could reverse engineer very easily. Yeah, it's insane. Things are still happening, and it's going to amplify, knowing things are going. Like the Trump said, yeah, it's going to get intensified in next 24 hours. Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, this is like too intense. See, this is what I'm saying. Like any other country, would this have gone the same way? No. This looks like Hollywood level shit because that's that ridiculous. The error margins were so high, yet everybody basically went unscathed. SEAL team was involved, Delta Force was involved. It's just awesome, man. Right? This will be a movie, right? Matt Damon or whatever, like put them like Matthew McConaughey or whatever. There you go, Oscar-winning movies. Alright, well, if you like my reason, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.